Superman and Lois, in a way, marks the end of an era when it comes to superhero television. Not only is it the last DC Comics show to air on the CW, but it also debuts in the same week that James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC Studios era kicks off with Creature Commandos. Taking it even further, the era of DC Comics television technically began with Smallville, way back when the CW was the WB. It's fitting that things started with a Superman show and ended with a Superman show. But even though showrunners Todd Helbing and Brent Fletcher have been open about wanting the show to run longer, Superman and Lois swung for the fences in its final season. That includes the opening episode tackling the iconic Death of Superman storyline, bringing back the Flash's Tom Cavanaugh for a surprise role, and having Tyler Hoechlin's Clark Kent reveal his secret identity as Superman to the world. The series finale, It Went By So Fast, features a powerful, poignant end to one of the most interesting Superman stories put on screen. It Went By So Fast opens with an apocalyptic setup. Lex Luthor, Michael Cudlitz, hellbent on killing Clark and his family, has set Doomsday loose in Smallville. Superman is willing to give up his life, again, to stop Doomsday, but his wife Lois Lane, Elizabeth Tulloch, convinces him to let their sons Jonathan, Michael Bishop, and Jordan, Alex Garfin, help. The Man of Steel also gets help from an unexpected source, John Henry Irons, Wole Parks, who lends his kinetic absorption hammer to the Kents so that they can knock out Doomsday. Superman then attempts to fly Doomsday into the sun, but the Beast remembers his previous life as Bizarro and winds up sacrificing himself. An enraged Luthor, having stolen Iron's power suit, attempts to kill Lois, Jordan, and Jonathan. This leads to Clark and Luthor having one final fight in the skies. You came after my wife, my family, my town, Superman shouts while pummeling Luthor with punches. But all that ends right now. With one final strike, he dismantles Luthor's armor and brings him down to Earth, ending the fight. But that's not the only surprise Superman and Lois throws at the audience. After the battle with Doomsday and Luthor, Superman takes a different approach to helping the world. He creates suits for Jonathan and Jordan, passing on his heroic legacy to his sons. A shot features them flying with their father, Irons in his full steel armor, and Irons' daughter, Natalie, Taylor Buck. Irons even finally ties the knot with Lana Lang, Emmanuel Creaky, while Luthor is sent away for life in prison. But the biggest moment comes when Clark approaches Bruno Mannheim, Chad L. Coleman, who he previously locked horns with in Season 3. Clark tells Mannheim that he's been saving the world for 20 years, but it's time to try something different. He and Lois have set up a foundation to tackle different world issues. In a way, Clark is fulfilling the same role that his late mother Martha did. The Superman and Lois finale then takes a major jump into the future and pays off a plot point from the beginning of Season 4. After his death at the hands of Doomsday, Superman was given a new heart by his father-in-law, Sam Lane, Dylan Walsh. But that came with a cost. The Man of Steel would slowly lose his powers and age like any other human being. A now mortal Clark is finally able to grow old with Lois, while Jonathan and Jordan also grow up, even starting their own families. Eagle-eyed fans might also recognize that adult Jonathan is played by David Giuntoli, who previously starred alongside Tulloch in Grimm and directed the Season 4 episode Always My Hero. It Went By So Fast decides to go for the emotional jugular in its final moments. Lois' breast cancer returns, and she ends up passing away with her family by her side. Everything good in my life came from you, a grieving Clark tearfully tells her. This moment hits hard because Superman and Lois was dedicated to showcasing the ups and downs of the Kents' marriage. The fact that Hoechlin and Tulloch had amazing chemistry throughout the series only sells this moment even more. Clark, to lessen the grief of Lois, ends up getting a golden retriever that he names Krypto, a shout-out to Superman's canine companion from the comics, who is slated to appear in James Gunn's Superman next year. Eventually, Clark passes away with his sons by his side, and enters what can only be heaven. He sees Irons and Lana, his sons, even Lex Luthor, and the two men share a genuinely human moment as they put aside their decades-long rivalry. Finally, the door opens to reveal Lois, and Clark embraces his wife, telling the viewers to embrace love. Though it was a truncated version of the original plan, Fletcher told Entertainment Weekly that it went by so fast was always how Superman and Lois was meant to end. Superman and Lois ended on the perfect note. It wasn't just a show about Superman punching villains, it showed how Clark Kent operated as a father and a husband. It gave Lois Lane just as much importance as her superpowered spouse, and its finale managed to be heartwarming as well as heart-wrenching. Seasons 1 to 3 of Superman and Lois are available to stream on Max.